I'm so emotional right now. I've been looking for him, and I saw your article.
The article was a story that we did about a picture of a Marine in Vietnam, the one the veteran is holding here behind us. That photo moved all of us for personal reasons, just as it moved the woman who called us. Kristyn Hartman here actually recently met with her and her husband, a Vietnam War vet.
Yeah, Craig, the snippet of the message that you just heard was from my voicemail. If anything proves there's power in a picture, and that's what we called the original story, it is that message. It was a portal to a day in 1967 when one man's actions made another man's trajectory possible.
This man saved my husband's life.
It's the message that put us on a path north to dig into the wartime connection between two men, one from Chicago, the other from Detroit, each with the same Cincinnati tie.
Right here?
A reporter hoping to be the conduit for a kind of emotional archaeology.
It's so nice to meet you.
Me too. Me too.
Paul Cartwright spoke with me from his hospital room at the Ann Arbor VA. It was a conversation born in a moment from the Vietnam War documentary series by Ken Burns and Lynn Novick. This moment.
They endured.
That picture allowed the past to surge up and grab Paul.
I froze.
Yeah.
I was trying to call my wife.
And he had his hand over his mouth, and he was just sobbing.
I said, that's the man that saved my life.
He goes, I'll never forget that face as long as I live.
Paul's wife, Debbie, wanted to know more about a chapter her husband of 38 years rarely mentioned. So she walked back in time with him, asked him questions about that man in the picture.
All he said to me was his nickname was Ski. He was from Chicago.
And you mentioned something about his choice of words.
The man wouldn't swear. I don't care if you cut him with a knife. He'd say, "Jeez, that hurt."
Debbie took that information and the picture and put what she knew on Facebook.
I would love to get this photo out there to try to find him. Wouldn't that be cool? He went by the nickname Ski.
Friend John Schmitz saw the post.
And I just, Google, I typed in Vietnam veteran from America with the nickname of Ski, and there was that picture that Paul froze on his TV.
It was in the clip from the story I did on the same man in the picture, my dad. Armed with my name and station info, Debbie picked up the phone.
I have been trying to locate your father.
A, there was a good chance he wouldn't have survived the war.
Correct.
B, if he did, that he wouldn't be here anymore. The fact that you found him.
Yes. I didn't think it would get that far.
None of it would have happened if documentarians Burns and Novick hadn't told the Vietnam story, hadn't used the picture of Hank Janikowski that got people talking.
He's sort of looking off to the side, but he's very much present and in a real place. And you're left wondering, wow, what has this guy been through?
We have an even better understanding now, thanks to the Cartwrights. Debbie read us the letter Paul wrote to his family after he was shot in Vietnam. He described an ambush.
Just as we crossed the bridge into another series of patties, they opened up on us with everything they had. Pow! I caught one in my left shoulder.
If my dad had not been there in that moment, would you be here today?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because the guy was too darn close. And he already had a bead on me. He was getting ready to squeeze again when your dad leveled him.
So much of the war was about death, but Paul's survival is about life. He has 3 children, 6 grandchildren. He and Debbie have been married almost 4 decades. Lots of living there, living, he says, Ski made possible.
I owe him more than he could ever imagine. I guess that says it all.
So I got my dad's reaction to all of this on my iPhone.
That makes you smile, huh, Dad?
Yes, it does.
Why?
Because he's here, and he's able to talk about this.
Is it important to talk about it, Dad?
Yes, it is.
In the spirit of that idea, I invite you to join us for an even deeper conversation on 9 on Your Side at 7. Both veterans sharing their experiences because that picture got them talking, Craig.
The power of a moment caught in a single frame of film.
I know.
You know?
It's kind of hard to get your head around
Yeah,
it, isn't it?
It is. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing this story. You can also check out the podcast version of this story. I've shared it out on my social media as well, where Kristyn and I talk a little bit more about the whole project. And if you have a veteran-centered story in your community, email homefront@wcpo.com.